I'm sorry to say this, but most of you are really, really insecure people. And it's not even funny, and it's not actually cute, and it is so annoying. But what if I told you that you were actually programmed to feel that way? What if you're not actually insecure, but there's just something that happened that you probably don't understand? You've convinced yourself that there's something broken inside you. You're fragile, you're weak, like you're made of emotional glass. You always tell yourself, if I could just stop caring so much, if I could just stop overthinking, if I could just stop needing people, if I could just stop chasing love, maybe I would finally be enough. But here's the plot twist that nobody warned you about. You are not insecure. You were trained for this. Yep, professionally, systematically trained to doubt yourself. Not through violence, not through screaming matches, but through quiet little daggers. The silence, the coldness, the emotional starvation. It's a kind of trauma that doesn't leave bruises, just patterns you can't seem to break. And here's the thing, until you drag your hidden wounds into the light, they'll keep ruining your life. And you call it fate. Most of you call it fate. That's something that we know. That's why you can't explain why you always feel not enough, why you give more than you ever receive, why you stay in relationships that make you feel like a background character in your own life story, why just literally one ignored text can make you spiral like you've just been ghosted by oxygen. It's not because you're too emotional or too sensitive. It's because somewhere along the way, your brain got fed a lie so many times it became your truth. You were told love must be earned or it disappears. So now you scan for rejection before it even happens. You apologize before you even do something wrong, before you even do something. You try to be the one who is easy to love, but secretly hate how exhausting this actually feels. You have to understand that you are not living, you are auditioning for a role that doesn't even exist. And the worst part, you don't know who you are without that costume. This obviously didn't start yesterday. It started way back. It started the moment someone important made you feel like being yourself wasn't enough. Maybe it was a parent who only smiled when you achieved something. Maybe it was probably a mother who praised you when you were quiet but punished you when you were in your truth. A father who only noticed you when you performed. Maybe it wasn't even physical abuse, but it was emotional famine that nobody hit you, but nobody held you either. And so you adapted. You became the overthinker. You became the overgiver. You became the peacemaker. You became the perfectionist, the one who always asks, are you mad at me? Not because you are annoying, but because your nervous system is like a guard dog that barks at every shadow. And your nervous system has been trained to scan for abandonment, to see danger in silence, to hear rejection in every single pause. You think you are insecure, but honestly, you are very wrong. You are carrying the survival instincts of a kid who learned that love can vanish without warning. And when survival becomes your default setting, you go looking for people who feel like the wound. You don't choose them because you are dumb. No, you choose them because their chaos feels like home. Home, like that cold, hollow feeling in your chest when someone you trusted turned their back on you. Home, like learning to keep quiet so you wouldn't start trouble. Home, like calling it love when it was just emotional starvation with a cute nickname. The neglected child becomes the adult who confuses control with love. You chase the same kind of person who hurt you before, telling yourself that this time will be different. No, baby girl, it won't. Because you're not chasing love. You're chasing the hit of validation from someone who never even intends to give it. Your inner child still believes love is something you have to earn. It's something you have to perform for, and it's something you have to beg for until you are empty. So you label yourself clingy, needy, and too much, but that's not the truth. The truth is you are doing to yourself what they did to you. You are leaving yourself behind. And no, you are not alone. The world is packed with people who look strong in daylight and crumble in the dark. People who give and give, thinking if they just bleed enough, they'll finally be worthy. But here's the part no one likes to admit. The people who taught you love are the same people who taught you to beg for it. And their message still echoes in your head. You are lovable only if you're perfect. You're safe, but only if you're useful. You are worthy, but only if someone else decides so. But it's all a lie. It's always been a lie. You don't have to earn love. You don't have to shrink. You don't have to break your own heart to keep someone else comfortable. You were never insecure. You were conditioned to beg. And the only way out is to stop crawling and stand the hell out. You didn't inherit it through blood. You inherited it through betrayal. 1,000 tiny betrayals that did make noise, but still rewired your soul. Let's go back in time just a little bit. You are a kid, right? And you run into the room, you're all excited. You built something cool. You feel like a genius with crayons. All you want is someone to look at you and say, wow, that's amazing. And I'm so proud of you. But instead, they hardly look. Maybe they just say, without even turning their head to look. Now, how does that make you feel as a child? Just try to go back in time and think about this. I'm sure most of you, something like this or something similar has happened to you. And then if someone didn't do what you actually wanted them to do, how did you feel about that? And obviously, in your little mind, a switch flips. You start thinking, I guess I only get love if I impress them. Now, imagine that happening over and over for years. At moments when you cried and you were taught to stop overreacting. When you needed help and heard you're being too dramatic. When you were scared and got laughed at instead of being given the hug that you needed. Slowly, you started believing, my feelings are a problem. Love has to be earned. Staying quiet is safer than actually speaking up. And that's when the beginning starts. Not the obvious kind with hands out. You get smart, you adapt, you become the helper, you become the fixer, you become the never complains friend, because that's how you keep people close. Fast forward to adulthood now. You're still doing it, but now it looks like overthinking every text, saying it's fine when it's actually not. Loving people harder the more they hurt you, like a dog chasing the person who just kicked it. That's not romance. That's your nervous system replaying a not script called how to stay close to people who never made you feel safe at all. You think you are in love, right? No, you are falling into something familiar. And what's familiar to you isn't safety. It's the pain with your name written on it. But here's what your brain does. It says, if I can make this emotionally unavailable person love me, then I'll finally be enough. But they won't. Because people like that are like vending machines that take your coins but never give the snack. You're not weak for wanting love, but you are not broken for wanting to be chosen. But you are stuck in a pattern that isn't even yours. You got used to being ignored. You learned the safest way to keep someone was to shrink yourself until you almost disappeared. That's why love makes you anxious. That's why affection feels like it comes with an expiry date, because your body remembers the first time someone left and it's been waiting for it to happen again. This isn't about the lack of confidence, it's about a lack of emotional safety. All right. So now, every time you get close to someone, a voice inside you whispers, don't be too much, don't need too much, don't mess this up. And that's how you end up begging without even knowing it, literally without even knowing it, giving up parts of yourself so they won't leave. But here's the truth. The people you've been begging from, they were never going to give you what you needed. Not because you're unworthy, but because they just couldn't. You weren't born insecure, you were trained. You smile, you perform, you make them happy, but never ever take up space. So you have to understand that you are never insecure. You are just programmed to feel that way. But it is never too late for you to change. Change starts now. It takes you looking yourself in the mirror and telling yourself you deserve more. It's you looking yourself in the mirror and telling yourself you decide what to do and what not to do. And no other person is responsible for the decisions that you have to make for yourself. The time is now. Start now. It's never too late. You have to be unapologetically yourself, okay? Do what makes you happy, not another person. Make decisions based on how you feel, not on how the other person feels. You only have you to answer to. If you're going to be depressed, it's going to be upon you, nobody else. So take up space, be who you want to be, and just live the happy life that you actually deserve. If this really touched your heart, share it with someone who is begging for love they already deserve. I want you to say this out loud, okay? I am not insecure. I was told to beg, but I am done now. Like, it's in the past. Now it's time to be me. It's time to be authentically myself. And it's time for me to be unapologetically myself. Thank you very much for watching. For now, bye.